What's everyone saying? It's your boy Simon Exposed back again with another video. It's a bit different this time. We're having a bit of a sit down. You know, I don't really do these type of videos, you know, have a sit down, have a chat. So about 2 weeks ago, I'm filming this on the 23rd on a Sunday. On the 10th of July, First Bus were announcing that they were going to be shutting down all of their night bus services from the 31st of July. Basically, there was a whole bunch of outrage, understandably, and yeah, I kind of just want to discuss my opinions and what I think about this whole thing going on right now. So the night bus in Glasgow is comprised of 11 routes that run Friday night and Saturday night from around midnight, half midnight, till about half three in the morning. So it's 11 services, but not part of 11 routes in a way. You've got the N2 that goes in two directions, one to Faithfully, one to Easterhouse, N6, one to East Kilbride, one to Mount Blow via Clydebank. You've got the N9 to Paisley, N18 to East Kilbride, N38 to Newton Mend, N57 to Pollock, N60 to Drumchapel, and N240 to Cleland, and N267 to Hamilton. So these buses have been running even before I came up to Glasgow. I don't actually know how long they've been going on for, but from the discussions I've seen in comments, of videos, of posts, of Twitter threads, they've been going on for quite a long time. The one thing you could say that is weird, you know, I'm coming from London where night buses are running every single night, probably every 20 minutes, and you've got 24-hour bus routes as well. The one thing is that in Glasgow, these night buses are one way, so if you're getting the N6 out to, I don't know, the West End at 2 AM, you're not going to be getting one back into town, after you've gone and got some chips at 727 or something. You're going to be literally going out one way, going to have to get a taxi the other way. So when First Bus announced that they were cancelling the bus routes, I've actually got the lovely short announcement that they put out. I'll read it out, to be fair. This is what they said. Customer information. First Glasgow has announced the withdrawal of its night buses in Glasgow, which will commence on the 31st of July. The decision was made following a 12-month period of monitoring passenger numbers, which revealed that services were regularly operating with as few as 14 passengers per hour. The drivers who work late into the night to deliver these services will be redeployed into the daytime network to further support existing services across the city where passenger recovery is strong and additional capacity is required. In light of these changes, we'd like to understand the barriers which may have led to these services being underutilized. Please take a few minutes to take a short survey to help us understand the current landscape and the demand for late night services. Blah, 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 blah. So I got sent this statement as a tweet on Twitter by my mate, and I just knew, I was just like, come on guys. In my honest opinion, I think it's an utter shame. I'd say in my time in Glasgow wasn't a regular user of the night bus, of the N6, going out from, you know, the city centre out to the West End where the uni is. Back in first year, even this year, you know, I've been, 6 years later, still using a night bus because it's an affordable and it's a convenient method of getting home, and it's safe. It's safe. That's the ultimate reason. It was an affordable way of getting home compared to getting an Uber or, you know, getting a taxi. If you're only paying £3 for a bus ride, which will take, you know, half an hour, it's better than paying £20-25 for a cab. Even though support the cabbies, support the Uberman them, it's just been super expensive, especially over the last couple of years. You know, for myself and my experience, before COVID, I'd be going out into the city centre from the West End with my mates. We'd go and have a rogue night at, I don't know, Garage or Buff Club. These guys would be staying in a different halls to me, or maybe they were staying at home or somewhere else. I was normally the only person that lived in a different accommodation. And of course they can share an Uber. They can get a £20 Uber, share it between them, boom, boom, boom. £4 easy. For me, it wouldn't have been affordable to be getting a £10 Uber back to the West End by myself and spend that money by myself. I would rather, you know, we go to McDonald's after, look at the times, bus is in 5 minutes, run for the bus, get on that. Back then it was £2.30, it was only 10 pence more than a daytime ticket. Boom, on the bus, get off, walk 2 minutes, and I'm back to halls. You see that N6 and that N60, those two buses were lifesavers. Honestly, the amount of times I'd be using those, yeah. The N6 was, the vibe wasn't really there. The N60 now, because that's the bus out to Drumchapel going through Mary Hill. That bus was live. That bus was live. The one thing I would say about Glasgow is that Glasgow is massive. Like, the pole of Glasgow is absolutely humongous. You've got, of course, the city centre, the outer city, your West Ends, South Sides, the north of Glasgow, East End, you got that. But then you've also got the commuter ring around Glasgow, which spreads out very far. We could be talking about Stirling, we could be talking about Falkirk, Ayr, could be talking about Irvine, Dunoon, Gourock, East Kilbride, Straven, check out my video. The place is massive, and a lot of people use Glasgow as their centre for shopping, for retail, for leisure, for different things basically. And having a transport network that does not make the most of this, especially at night time, is so frustrating, so frustrating. Like, we look at during the day, people are struggling during the day, and then people want to, unleash from the stress of struggling during the day and going out during the evening. It might be a meal, it might be, going to Nando's and then going bowling, or it might be going to see Oppenheimer or Barbie at the View. And then what? People are stuck with no bus to get home, no train. The train's gone like half an hour ago. Stuck with a £20, £30 taxi. It's just an absolute shame, especially with the potential that the nightlife scene in Glasgow, and people know it. Glasgow is much better than Edinburgh. Much better than Edinburgh for a night out, for sure. It's just a bit of a pain just seeing all this happen. And it does need fixed, honestly, it does. So the one thing you could try and do is pinpoint where it started to go downhill. There isn't really a specific time, but you could say that it was the pandemic. Before COVID, everyone was using the bus. I'd be walking down Union Street or Hope Street. I'd be seeing the 240, the 267. My life, why could I see? Literally, it looked like they were having a party on the bus. Of course, when the pandemic happened, had lockdown, nighttime events weren't allowed, clubs were closed, pubs were really restricted. Even before that, when it was full on lockdown, no one was out at night. There was no need, there was no demand for night buses, and it made sense. That's when they canned it the first time, and for an extended period of time, there were no night buses. So I think, if I remember correctly, the night buses came back for a certain period after lockdown had eased, and then everyone started going out again. But then I remember that there was a specific period of time when First Bus really had a driver shortage. They had a driver shortage like crazy, so they ended up cutting a lot of their services on their main routes, cutting services like the 709, the 765. You can see in my video right there that I tried to do the 709 after doing the 765, but they stopped both routes because of driver shortage, and then they just got rid of it, to be fair. So when they did come back, when the night buses did come back, there was some aggressive marketing, especially on Facebook and like Instagram and stuff like that. Something about like night buses, the buses never leave the garage. It's still like that on its page. Oh yes, our night buses are never in the garage. So First Bus were advertising the night buses so and so, like a lot in a sense. And it seemed like it hasn't fully worked. I don't know. But yeah, I do feel like even though they tried, there could have been some other stuff that they could have done to attract like the under 22s using their bus passes to get on the bus and stuff like that, get them out in town. I'm not saying it's too late, but First Bus demographic you got to reach out to. Actually, no. You have to reach the young folk and also the old folk, the 45, the 50-year-olds that go out on a Saturday night, because they'll be using the bus all the time. Well, I guess after First Bus made their announcement, there would have been some outrage. And there was. Not just from myself, had a number of politicians, a number of Labour politicians, so like MSP Paul Sweeney, Councillor Eva Murray, had the whole Green Party literally post on their Twitter page that bring back the buses. and a number of SNP folk as well, including the First Minister. And it's going to show that something is wrong in the way that we organise public transport in this city. There was also the Glasgow University Students' Representative Council, who came out with a statement as well, lamenting the fact that First Bus have decided to stop their night buses, noting student safety, the fact that students don't all live in the West End now, so people are living further out, and if they want to socialise and actually spend time in the city in the evenings and the nights, they need to have a safe way of getting home. And then also with the student news outlets as well, Glasgow Guardian, shout out the Glasgow Guardian, have a post here from them. Remember, cost of living crisis, we are poor, I can't afford a £25 Uber by myself. I remember when it was £3 for an Uber. Good days. And yeah, it just highlights the social impacts of getting rid of the night buses. It's not just an economic thing, which First Bus will be looking at, of course, but the main thing is safety. And people aren't gonna wanna go out if there isn't a safe and affordable way. I've said safe and affordable so many times so far, what am I doing? But it's literally that. It sums it up, that. Safe, affordable. But yeah, honestly, it's been great to see that there's been a reaction, even from people that have never used the night bus. Because I chat to my mates, they used to laugh at me for taking the night bus. But then I look on Twitter, I look on Facebook, I look on forums, it's looking mad. Everyone, even Instagram, yeah, everyone is seeing the potential of the night buses, and especially over the last couple of years, you know, things with like Sarah Everard, the whole chat about Glasgow and Kelvin Grove Park and lighting in the park as well, stuff like Kelvin Way, things like that, like especially in the Glasgow context, or things that have resonated in Glasgow that have built up to be like, why are you getting rid of the bus? You know, you can try and debunk the statement that they've said. They've made it so it really is like, it's not worded very like sharply. You know, 14 people per hour. What? Are you saying that's bad? 14 people per service per hour. You look at how many people you can fit on a single decker, so an Enviro 300, you could probably fit around, I don't know, 60 people capacity, and that includes standing, I think. Don't quote me on that. Out of 104 nights, yeah, one service, one bus, one night, 14 people. I would say 14 people on that bus, that's 14 people getting home safe, 14 people that don't have to wait 10, 15 minutes for an Uber, 14 people who have been on the BEVs and literally can't stand up straight, but they know what bus stop to get off at. And the thing is about this whole per hour thing, most bus routes run every hour anyway. There's literally 3 bus routes that run twice a night, the 18, 240 and 267. And those are literally at 1 o'clock and then 1 at like 3:15 or whatnot. Them buses are gonna be packing, do you know where they go? We're talking Motherwell, we're talking Wishaw, Motherwell, we're talking East Kilbride, my guy. You know, you've got to look at the frequency of the services, the timings of the services, the actual services that are in operation at the moment. Like I said, most services are once an hour, and it's good that we have the bus option there, but having to be like, oh my gosh, my bus is in 10 minutes, I need to run 15 minutes. If I miss that bus, the next one's in an hour and a half. That's gonna put people off taking their bus. If it was like, oh no, my bus is in 10 minutes, I need to run 15 minutes, but it's fine, there's another one in half an hour. And I get the asterisk with that. I get that there is a driver shortage and it has been hard to recruit bus drivers over the last couple of years. It's not a quick fix, but it's something that, especially before COVID, would have been good to have had. I don't like the fact that you have people that can't afford a cab, who have probably missed their bus. Say if I missed the, like literally, if I missed the N6 here after going to McDonald's, after going to, I don't know, Club Tropicana, like, yo, the queue for a cheeseburger is like 20 minutes. I'm starving. I've only got bread, water, and chia seeds at home right now. Like, honestly, I'm trying to just survive on the food I've got, innit? I just want a cheeseburger. If I miss my bus, I'm waiting for an hour. What am I gonna do for an hour? Am I just gonna stand out there in the cold, or am I gonna have to risk it? And after paying, what's it now, $1.19 for a cheeseburger, I'm gonna have to pay £20 for an Uber, and I'm gonna have to wait for that as well. I speak like such a Londoner. Yeah, I speak like such a Londoner that has a bus every 20 minutes in the night. But you get what I mean. You get what I mean. And the thing is, remember, Glasgow gets very cold in the winter. Very cold. Painstakingly cold. And people still go out without coats. And of course, if the frequency wasn't bad, we've seen whole routes being cut off. So for as long as I've been in Glasgow, there have been a number of routes that have been axed. And I actually don't know why. Like I mentioned in my Straven video, go check that out, come on. The 75. The N75, why was there not a night bus following the route of the 75? And in fact, there was a bus to Châteaulet on the 75. That went. There are literally pockets of Glasgow that even with the current night bus service, they are not served at all. Look at a map. You've got a whole chunk of the south side, including Castle Milk, which is very dependent on the bus network. If you're locked off from the bus, what are you doing? You're not going into town. You're staying on the block. Yeah, you're getting a couple of tins. You're staying on the block. You're annoying Sheila who's trying to sleep after, watching bingo on TV. There was also the 57 that would have gone out to Rob Royston, which now Rob Royston's getting a new estate getting built. More people are going to start living there, and also along that route you've got a lot of people, especially in like Springburn area, that are not well served with buses late at night. So First Bus, 4 days later, literally on the 14th of July, we're going to be suspending the end of the services till August the 20th. And that's good. It's a couple of weeks, and then it gives extra time for them to be like, oh man, oh no, we shouldn't have told them that we were cutting the services. Night buses are good because they support local night trade. It doesn't have to be a club, it doesn't have to be a rave, it doesn't have to be a pub or a bar. It doesn't have to revolve around drinking. It could be going out for food, it could be going to a restaurant, it could be going to Buck's Bar for a burger or Pisano for a pizza, something like that. It could be going out on a date, going to bowling or mini golf and losing because you're terrible. So the fact where you don't have to be stressing out when the last daytime bus is or when the last train is, having to run down Central Station to like platform 18 because you're going to Irvine, it's a relief. You got more time to spend in the city centre, you're spending more money. Capitalism. Night buses also help those who work in hospitality, who work quite late, those who work the unsociable hours. I used to work at a certain well-known beverage dispensary company. We'd be finishing at 1 o'clock, 1:45, 1:30. If it was a Friday or a Saturday and no one was going the same way as me, I'd just walk down to Central, maybe walk to McDindle's and get a beach chaga, chill, boom, walk to the bus stop, get the N6 home. In a nutshell, night buses help have a lively city, especially during the night. It keeps the city going, it keeps money being spent in the city centre, it keeps people coming to the city centre and enjoying themselves basically. The kids after COVID, they don't want to go in town because it's too expensive to get home. It might be cheaper to go out to, I don't know, a buff club or a garage or whatnot, but people are going to be staying in the West End because it's close to home, even if it might mean a bit more spendy. It's just not worth the hassle of having to either walk half an hour, 35, 40 minutes home, when a lot of new students now don't actually live in the West End or in the student areas like Denniston or whatnot, or waiting for an Uber or a taxi, which will take a chunk out of the money that these first, second, third years don't actually have. So what's the plan from now? So McGill's have said if First Bus don't come and plug that hole again, they might come out and do a couple of routes. They said 4 or 5, I think they've mentioned, and there's been no specifics, to be fair. And it's mostly just been like, if First Bus don't want to restart the night buses, then we will start to talk with SPT and try and find out a suitable long-term solution for the people of Glasgow. And I honestly think if First Bus don't come back with the night buses, which I know that if they see McGill's, they'll be like, we're not letting McGill's take our territory, what are you doing? If McGill's come in and do it well, then that will mean people will start to use McGill's services more, because they'll probably do like integrated tickets with day and nights, especially for those in Paisley and out on the Clyde coast. Even in the city, to be fair, they run a few services out on the east, a few up to Stirling as well. It's a good game plan for them to try and get more people and more of a share of the Glasgow market. Well, talking about the mess that is Glasgow's transport system, where does it leave it in general? Glasgow is the biggest city in Scotland, one of the biggest cities in the UK, and it doesn't have an active night bus system, or it won't have an active night bus system. The people of Glasgow have been really struggling when it has come to transport provision. You can say all you want how, oh, you got the subway, it's only 1.55, oh, it goes round and around, it's so useful. It's useful for a certain number of people. You can say that, oh, Glasgow has the largest suburban rail network outside of London. And still, there are huge parts of Glasgow that are disadvantaged because they don't have a rail station or a railway line that is right next to them. Speaking of Châteaulet, speaking of Renfrew, speaking of Erskine, places like that. Straven, mate, Straven, check out the video. There's still gaps, and a lot of people rely on the buses. But it doesn't help when bus services are being cut. You've got tickets going up and up. The subway closes at 6 on a Sunday. Oh, don't get me started. The subway is also inaccessible to a large portion of people with mobility issues and wheelchairs. There's no integrated ticketing. Okay, yeah, you've got the zone card, but unless you're traveling in zone G1 and G2, but not G3 for over a month, and you're going to be using a McGill's, a First, Avondale, or it's a mess. I could do a whole video on that. I might do. Because you look over at our brothers in Edinburgh, they're living life. They got trams. We were supposed to have trams. We got Clyde Fastlink. Check out the video. We don't even have a train to the airport, man. We were supposed to have a train to the airport. The closest you're gonna get to that is Train Simulator. Oh, and what makes it all worse as well, yeah? I just had to have a sip of water because a lot of stuff is coming out. In 2021, at COP26, volunteers, delegates, important people all got to travel on the public transport in Glasgow for free. There was a card, COP26 travel card, that you could use on the subway, on the bus, on the ScotRail. For everyone else, oh no, what? You have to get a ticket for the subway, and then if you're going on a McGill's and a First Bus, you have to get 2 different tickets. So, oh no, it's a shambles. It's a shambles. We just need some change, man. We need something to change. We need buses that are affordable for everyone. We need integrated ticketing so that people will actually want to use the public transport network. Yes, companies will have their financial interests and they will want people to use their services. But people aren't going to use their services if, 1, the cost is out of reach, and 2, if it's so complicated to actually use the service. Like, mate, I try best not to use the bus as much as I can. I try to use the ScotRail or the subway because I know that the bus is going to be more expensive. If I do use the bus, I have to be doing more than 3 journeys in a day. I have to be getting a day ticket and making the most of the day ticket because I can't be affording $285 each time. When in London, okay, it used to be 150, it's now 175. Like, lads, I do a regular journey from zone 2 out to zone 9 through zone 1, and that costs 15 pence more than doing a single bus ride in Glasgow for more than 5 stops. I've gone on for a long time, I can't lie, I've said a lot. But it's just, it is a lot of frustration. It is a lot of disappointment that the needs of the people and the safety of people, especially at night time, during the weekends, in this biggest city in Scotland, is being ignored. and that night buses are probably soon to be. And of course, I do recognize that transport at night will have higher costs. It will have a potential higher social cost, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, antisocial behavior at night might be a bit more. But in general, public transportation shouldn't be run for a profit. It shouldn't be run for a profit. Make your money, but it should be reinvested into making the services better, more affordable, and more accessible for people. But yeah, Glasgow City Council, SPT, the bus companies are working towards a solution. Let's hope it's good for the people of Glasgow. And let's just hope that people are using the night bus more whilst we have this outrage. Give First Bus our money so we can give them more money. Because it's great that people are finding about the night bus. It's great that people are seeing the potential and seeing the usefulness of these services. And I want to see more people on them. I want to see people getting lit on the night bus, you know. Without the night buses, without people in the city centre, Glasgow, it's just not going to be the place. It's not going to be the same place that I recognise from when I came in 2017. It's not going to be crazy vibes, lit. I want to see a bustling Glasgow. I want to see a prosperous Glasgow. I want to see a Glasgow. Everyone's going out having fun. Whew. I've just done this on the whim. All I'm saying is if you like the video, make sure you subscribe, comment. Let's talk. It's been your boy Simon Explores, and I'll catch you in the next video. See you in a bit. Laters.